camera 3.
Am I even actually playing?
9. 5.07.
11 to 3. And how much reality do you need too much?
You need a sound check for Granny.
And what about common cans? If you want, or be prepared to get us help from local Burger King for a walk.
Hello and welcome to CCTV News. It's Monday, December 10th. I'm Basir Syed. Here are the top stories. British Columbia jury finally makes a decision on the Robert Pickton trial. Facebook is the most common guilty pleasure among Canadians. A London homicide investigation ends with 2 found shot dead near Peterborough. And 2 different shootings in the same day leave 4 dead in Colorado. 58-year-old Robert Pickton, who was arrested on murder charges years ago, has finally been found guilty and sentenced to life in prison for killing 6 women in the fields of his pig farm. Rather than being convicted of first-degree murder, Pickton has been found guilty of second-degree murder, meaning that his murders were not planned. But unlike first-degree murder, second-degree murder grants Pickton an eligibility of parole in 10 years. The trial lasted for 10 months with 10 days of deliberation, but this isn't the end for Pickton. He still faces another trial concerning far more murder victims than his first trial. A recent study shows that Facebook has become more of a household name for Canada than any other country in the world. The study concludes that 25% of Canadians use Facebook. Almost 8 million Canadians have a Facebook profile page, and most recently, 85% of Canadian Facebook accounts have been added this past year. And the study, which was researched by Solutions Research Group, shows that Facebook's demographic does not just consist of pop culture-induced teenagers. Half of the Canadians are over 30 years of age. The Royal Agricultural Winter Fair has held their yearly event this month at the exhibition place. Those that have been there in the previous years know that they aren't just subject to receiving a handful of goods, but a mouthful of free goods as well. Reporters Martina McIntosh and I report from the exhibition place. Been some technical difficulties. Let's move on with another story. A man and a woman have been found shot to death in an Acura SUV near Peterborough. Police feel they don't need to search for a living suspect because the 2 were found alone in the vehicle. The vehicle was already under a homicide investigation. The OPP sought after the vehicle on Highway 115, 10 kilometers southwest of Peterborough. The dead woman is a grade 6 teacher at Ashley Oaks Public School in London. A spike belt was set up on the highway, causing the car to be found in a ditch. Early investigations conclude that it's unlikely that the police had any involvement with the killings. In 2 different shootings, 4 people are pronounced dead in Colorado. One shooting was at a missionary training center, and the other was at a church over 100 kilometers away from the training center, which is in Arvada. For the missionary training center shooting, the 2 who are dead were part of the staff for the training center, both in their 20s. And for the shooting at the church, a gunman in black with a state-of-the-art rifle entered the New Life Church and started shooting, leaving a pastor dead. Fortunately, the church managed to kill the shooter, but the security managed to kill the shooter before the shooter killed any more church members. And now to Athena McKenzie for the latest in entertainment.
Thank you, Baz. With the term winding down, we can now focus on putting a dent on our holiday gift buying. If you are a fan of one-stop shopping, you should consider getting everyone on your list a book. Little kids will love Olivia Helps with Christmas, about a little pig who embraces the holiday spirit. Introduce a teen to Stephanie Meyer's vampire series with Twilight, which is the first book in the love saga. For the jock in your life, you could pick up Bret Hart's autobiography, Hitman, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. If your man loved the movie Borat, then he will get a few belly laughs out of Borat, touristic guidings to minor nation of USA, and touristic guidings to glorious nation of Kazakhstan. For the more literary inclined, you can't go wrong with Michael Ondaatje's Divisadero, which won the Governor General Award, or Elizabeth Hayes' Late Nights on Air, which won the Giller. That's all from this book nerd. After the break, Charlene Callahan will have all the news from Hollywood.
Roll at 8/7 Central on CTV.
That is not going to work. This is more like a I'm going to homeschool these children?
Wow, this definitely looks like a teenager here. I have to say that we have to keep it a little bit neater than this.
I'm really going to mess these children up. I'm a little worried.
The wives have agreed to live by each other's rules for the first week. They've both written a household manual that explains when and how things should happen in their home.
Our instrument of discipline is the whacker. The whacker, which is used for spanking. Spanking.
As girls know, I find it hard to stick to the grounding rule because I'm a softie at heart and I often give in.
After they have been disciplined, they must ask for forgiveness, and their siblings should follow through with forgiveness? Are they nuts?
I am the queen. I like to be pampered. Steve rubs my feet, gives me massages, and tucks me in bed every night.
Paul is the head of the household, and what he says is final.
Oh, that's really great.
But he always considers my opinion before
Welcome back. In other entertainment news, at the box office this weekend, The Golden Compass led with the modest $26 million, followed by Disney's Enchanted with $10.7 million. Canadian-born actor Kiefer Sutherland will serve 48 days in an LA jail. The actor pleaded guilty to a 2004 drunken driving offense. As if we need more reality shows, with Hollywood's ongoing writer's strike, news networks are gearing up to flood TV airways with more reality shows. ABC has okayed the newest reality show called Wipeout. The show will have a large obstacle course where 50 contestants will scramble for $50,000 prize. In Grammy news, after the recent death of his mother, Kanye West will be stronger with 8 Grammy nominations. Despite Amy Winehouse's on and off drug and alcohol abuse, she has scored 6 nods, and other artists speculated to walk away with Grammy include the Foo Fighters, Timbaland, Justin Timberlake, and rapper T-Pain. And that's all the news from Tinseltown. Now over to Andrea and Katie, who have got the latest in sports.
Welcome back, and hello everyone. I'm Andrea Cranfield with Katie Goujian, and here is the latest in sports. The top 3 stories are the Raptors beating the Houston Rockets, the winning streak is over for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and John Bickerton beating Ernie Els to win the Alfred Dunhill Championship. And here's Katie Goujian with the latest.
Thanks, Andrea. The Leafs suffered a 2-1 loss to the Boston Bruins on Saturday night, bringing an abrupt end to their 4-game winning streak. It started off well with Jason Blake opening the scoring halfway through the first period. It was all downhill from there, though, for the boys in blue, going 0 for 6 on the power play. The Bruins' Chuck Kobasu fared better with the power play goal in the first, and then Dennis Wideman scored the winner halfway through the second. The Leafs faced Tampa Bay tonight at the Air Canada Centre, their last home game before a 7-game stint on the road.
The Raptors were happy to have their star forward Chris Bosh back last night. Bosh hadn't played in the last 5 games because of a strained groin. The Raptors lost 3 games and won 2 while he was away. Last night they beat the Houston Rockets 93-80 with Bosh getting 21 points and 10 rebounds. He started out slow, not doing very well in the first half of the game, but turned it around in the second half for the win. The Raptors will be in Atlanta on Tuesday to play the Hawks.
Self-defense may be on a lot of people's minds. Many of them are shaping up by going to the gym or working out, but there's a different way to learn how to protect yourself, which seems to be catching everyone's interest. This may be because of the success of the UFC. Gordon Brandt has this report.
At first glance, mixed martial arts can seem intimidating. But in reality, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai appear to be the most applicable styles of fighting that can be used by anyone. Round 1 is a combat martial arts school that has recently opened in Bowmanville. The owner, Stephen Lee, still a student himself, trains and uses these skills to help his students achieve their own personal goals. Lee emphasizes how the two forms of martial arts, Muay Thai being a stand-up art and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the ground, can be used by women for self-defense purposes.
If somebody wants to take it to the ground, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has things that employs amazing techniques that help women that 109 pounds to 200 pounds. Techniques that really help people that are 300 pounds as well. Because it methods to help the small person who is fighting against the big person.
He entered the sport after he arrived to Canada from Jamaica and was physically attacked at school. Lee's cousin and student Ingrid Hanf also has personal reasons that have motivated her to train in Muay Thai.
My last relationship, actually, he put a lot of fear into me, and I found that with Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, even with Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu, you can use it on the street, and half the time, anyway, fights end up on the ground. So, and I agree, and my cousin even put into me that Jiu-Jitsu is something that would be good to learn for a woman on the ground, because most of the time that's where a guy wants to get you. And Muay Thai, just because now I know if I see him down the street, I won't necessarily have fear in me.
Everyone is currently accepted using it on with the score to get everything for us to create self-confidence. Bowmanville, Gordon Brandt, CCTV.
If you think you had a good weekend, it probably wasn't as good as Edmonton's Kevin Martin's. Martin pocketed a cool $61,000 in the Casino-Rama Curling Skins game that brings his career earnings total to just under $350,000 and an automatic invitation to next year's match, where he will attempt to win his third straight Skins title. The annual All-Canadian event features 4 men's rinks where they compete for a grand prize of $100,000.
In golf, the Alfred Dunhill Championship took place on Sunday, with John Bickerton beating Ernie Els for the win. Excuse me. The tournament was played in South Africa, where Els is from, and is part of the South African Sunshine Tour. Els had a 2-stroke lead before heading into the final hole. Then he hit 2 balls in the water, handing the win to Bickerton. Overall, Els got 3 bogeys. Bickerton was not paying attention when Els was playing and was completely surprised by the win. Bickerton won with a 1-shot victory, finishing with a 68, which is 13 under par.
It seems Mercedes McLaren is having a tough time finding a wingman for their star driver. Lewis Hamilton is without a teammate after Fernando Alonso decided to go his own way at the end of the last Formula One season. Nico Rosberg, rumored replacement for Alonso, just announced that he has signed with Williams for the 2008 racing season. Rosberg said he wanted to win and wouldn't feel comfortable playing second fiddle to Hamilton. Hamilton, the British racing sensation, placed second overall in the 2007 F1 season at the ripe age of 22.
The 6th season of The Ultimate Fighter reality season is over, with Mac Danzig beating Tommy Spear on Saturday to win the title of The Ultimate Fighter. The fight was held at the Pearl at the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas. The show featured 2 teams with 8 fighters on each team. The teams were coached by Matt Hughes, who is a 2-time world champion, and Matt Serra, who is the current champion. Members of each team would fight each other, with the loser being eliminated from the competition. Serra's team dominated throughout the season, but it was 2 members of Team Hughes who made it to the finals. Danzig beat Spears with a rear naked choke in the first round to earn a 6-figure contract with the UFC. The Ultimate Fighter Season 7 is set to air in the springtime.
And now we head across the pond for the latest Premiership news. Arsenal's undefeated streak has come to an end as they lost 2-1 at the hands of Middlesbrough on Sunday. The Gunners' lone goal came from Rosicky from Liverpool, the only other undefeated team in the Premiership, took a 3-1 loss to Reading the day before. Arsenal now sits with 36 points in the overall standings, with Manchester United only 1 point away and Chelsea following closely behind at 34.
Canadian skier Britt Janik won first place in the World Cup downhill ski competition yesterday. Only 2 other Canadian women have ever won a downhill race before. Janik did the course in about 1 minute and 14 seconds. The overall World Cup leader Marley Stroud placed second. The snow conditions were very bad, and only 30 of the 56 skiers were able to finish the race. Because Janik was used to wet snow with powder, she was able to excel. The Canadian ski team has a total of 3 medals now, 2 of them coming from Janik. That's a look at the world of sports. Now over to Aidan Schaaf for his thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Thanks, Andrea. Clearly, the Toronto Maple Leaf brass wasn't listening to the words of Bob Dylan's hit "The Times Are Changing" in 1963, 4 years before the team won their last Stanley Cup. Dylan's socio-political assertions aside, the Leafs organization and fan base could have learned something from that song, because their resistance towards any type of change and their acceptance of showcasing a mediocre hockey team is absolutely dumbfounding. Year after year, believers in all things Maple Leaf, don't deny it, there's even one in your family, optimistically proclaim that this is the season. Without the constant media castigation, a reminder of how troubling the franchise has been since '67, fans would have you believe everything's dandy in Leaf Nation. Some point to the fascist Harold Ballard regime in the 70s and 80s as the root of the problem, but 2007's version of Richard Petty and Larry Tannenbaum isn't any better. And hey, the Leafs continue to be the most marketable team in the history of the sport. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment couldn't be richer. Perhaps the finger then points to the fans. As local sportscaster Bob McCowan says, Toronto sports fans are either incredibly loyal or incredibly stupid. I fear they're both. So it's high time Torontonians take action and save their storied franchise from another 40 years of hockey ineptitude. Put down that can of bats and grab your hockey sticks. Don those blue and white sweaters and march down Yonge Street. Get out of the way if you can't lend a hand, for it's about time the Leafs are changing. After the break, Briar Leaves will help you find the perfect gift for the holidays. Thank you.
Few relationships in life are more important than the one between you and your Michelin tires. Rugged, long-lasting Michelin light truck tires. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
So move. Welcome back. Holiday shopping isn't so bad. Sure, there are crowds and crying babies and people pushing and making ridiculous demands about everything. But don't let that get you down. Just do what I do and shop for yourself. Let me explain. I need running shoes. That is the only thing I really want for Christmas. But despite my best efforts at relaying this message, I won't be happily surprised by an Adidas box on Christmas morning. No, I will be happily surprised by a digital picture frame, a certifiable dust collector in my house. So maybe today, or maybe tomorrow, I will go to the running room and pick up my perfect Christmas present. I mean, the deals are good, and shopping for yourself is much easier than shopping for other people, especially when other people are extended family, friends of friends, and sometimes their pets. Don't get me wrong, of course, I eventually buy presents for other people, and I enjoy that, I really do. I simply take advantage of my liberal hand with money during the holiday season. Back to the news desk for more.
And that's the latest from the CCTV News Desk. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Basir Syed. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Ready? Then we look at camera 3. 9. 5.07.
How much loud is it too much?
Need a sound check for Granny.
And what about Thomas Kane? So if you want, or be prepared to get us help from local Burger King for a walk.